Haldo! Welcome back, everybody. Well, guys, we finally made it. That's right. This is the last 2D Mario game to cover before jumping into 3D. Not only that, but this game is also the first to showcase Mario in 1080 HD. But pushing all that aside, how does it compare to the 2D games that came before? Let's find out now as we wrap up these last 2/3 of the Mario Marathon with New Super Mario Bros. U. After New Super Mario Bros. 2 was released to lukewarm reviews, it seemed that every New Super Mario Bros. Game to come out after the Wii title would be like the Smash Bros. Games, only changing the formula in small, almost completely unnoticeable ways. Now it was a matter of what makes that specific New Super Mario Bros. Game stand out from the others. The Wii U was announced back at E3 2011 as the successor to the Wii, though a lot of people weren't exactly sure about that since Nintendo mostly showed off how cool the controller was. People were like,
"Wait, is this an accessory for the Wii? What is this, a Wii with a tablet? How come we all somehow managed to have the same stupid voice?"
Okay, they didn't say that last part, but you get the idea. Anyway, at E3 that year, one of the tech demos featured for the Wii U was a game called New Super Mario Bros. Me, where you can play New Super Mario Bros. As your me. Cool concept, and one that I thought should have been made into a full-fledged game. And in a way, it kinda was. With every new Nintendo console, a Mario game is bound to show up somewhere. And at launch, it did. New Super Mario Bros. Me became New Super Mario Bros. U, which was released alongside the Wii U on November 18th, 2012. This was a pretty big deal because it was the first time a true Mario platforming game appeared as a launch title for a Nintendo console since Super Mario 64. But if you want to count the DS remake, then go right ahead. Not to mention, this was also the first time two side-scrolling Mario games were released in the exact same year, because New Super Mario Bros. U came out 3 months after New Super Mario Bros. 2. That must have been insane for Takashi Tezuka, who was producing both games simultaneously. I can see why his wife would get mad at him for being late home from work, but can you really blame him? Nintendo's got him doing double duty. I said double. Upon release, New Super Mario Bros. U was fairly successful, but the question remains. As Mario's first high-definition adventure, how well does he make the transition? And as the fourth installment in the New Super Mario Bros. Series, does it actually try anything new? Well, the best we can do is try to find out. It begins with Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, and the two toads that nobody cares about having a spot of tea. And I don't know why, but watching this really puts me in the mood for Wallace and Gromit. But like you'd expect, Bowser and the Koopalings come storming in, ready to cause some trouble once again. Of course they kidnap the princess and... Wait, what? She moved into the side? What? Punching? Hey, the throwing? What? Throwing? What? What are you doing? What just happened? Okay, so Peach isn't really being kidnapped as much as she is being put under house arrest. I have to admit, that's actually kind of cool. Not the being put under house arrest thing, but the idea of Bowser taking over Peach's castle, that's what's interesting. Although, in hindsight, it only makes Peach herself come off as being more of a stupid airhead. First she gets taken in a cake, now she has to get kidnapped in her own castle? When will she ever realize that having the Toad Brigade around won't do her any good?
Are you in need of assistance?
Oh, hey Professor. I think I'm gonna hold off on using you for today.
But why?
I'm not completely sure if the viewers like you yet. I have to wait until they start asking to see you more before I can use you again.
Oh, fair enough.
Alright, let's keep going. When you start the game, you're taken to the world map, which has gotten a huge overhaul from the last two games. Instead of having the worlds be broken up and separate from each other, the game decides to take a note from Super Mario World and have the worlds be connected in a big singular world map. If you guys saw my review of Super Mario World, you'd probably guess that this would make me very happy. And you'd be right. From what I've researched, and by that I mean skimming through the game's page on the Super Mario Wiki, New Super Mario Bros. U's director, Masataka Takemoto, wanted to take the map from Super Mario World and use the Wii U to expand on the concept. And boy did he expand. This map is huge! So many secrets to uncover, levels you wouldn't even think were there, it's fantastic! Toad houses are back, allowing you to store items in an inventory just like New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Unfortunately, they decided to make the inventory system less awesome. Remember back in New Super Mario Bros. Wii when you can carry up to 99 of each power-up? Here, they decided to limit the amount of items you can carry in general, forcing you to get rid of certain power-ups to make way for new ones. I know I shouldn't really complain about this too much, considering the fact that this game is already pretty easy, but seriously, how could anyone possibly think that was a good idea? Speaking of power-ups, I should probably get into the gameplay. But before I do, I just want to make something clear. If I leave out any details, that's not because I didn't pay much attention to the gameplay. That's only because, surprisingly, there's not that much different from before. And when I say there's not much different in terms of gameplay, I mean, it's like I'm playing an HD remake of New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I'm not even joking, it's practically the same game. And I think I know why. Development began almost immediately after Miyamoto and his team were done with New Super Mario Bros. Wii. But since they didn't have a Wii U development kit available at the time, they ended up reusing assets from the Wii version. This included character models, power-ups, and music. Okay, I guess that's a legit reason, but they couldn't just make the whole game from scratch? It would have taken more time, yeah, but I can go without having a Mario game at launch. Everything Mario could do in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, he can do here without any sign of changes. Shake the controller, you can do the spin jump, and once again, Mario can ride on Yoshi. Every single power-up from New Super Mario Bros. Wii also makes a return, with the only new addition being the Super Acorn. Touching it turns Mario into Flying Squirrel Mario.
I'm king of the squirrels!
It has the gliding mechanic of the Cape Feather, but gives Mario a short boost of air either by a flick of the Wii Remote or a press of the triggers on the Wii U gamepad. I guess it's pretty cool, I don't really think much of it honestly. I just use it when I need an extra power-up and I'm all out of fire flowers. And continuing with the similarities to Super Mario World, which I haven't realized until now that there's a lot of them, Mario can also find a little help from baby Yoshis. They don't grow into adult Yoshis like in the past, but instead they have their own unique abilities based on their colors. Pink baby Yoshi inflates like a balloon, letting Mario float for a short time. Blue baby Yoshi spits bubbles at enemies, turning them into coins, and yellow baby Yoshi acts like a lantern, lighting up darker areas. The baby Yoshis don't really serve that much of a purpose, and the game wouldn't be that much different without them. Not like it was that different from other New Super Mario Bros. Games, but I enjoy their inclusion nonetheless. Wait, what's this rabbit-looking thing? Should probably talk about that. Remember how New Super Mario Bros. Wii sometimes had you rescue Toad whenever his face appeared over level markers on the map? Well, that concept sort of makes a return here, but instead of rescuing Toad, you have to chase a new character called the Nabbit.
Dagnabbit!
He'll steal stuff from a nearby Toad house, so they say, because we only see him rob a Toad house once in the entire game, and make a beeline toward the nearest level. You go and catch him, and Toad will thank you by rewarding you with the item that was stolen from him. Which always seems to be a P-Acorn, a beefed up Super Acorn that gives you infinite airtime, kinda like the P-Wing in Super Mario Bros. 3. That's cool, I guess, but couldn't the Nabbit just steal something else at least every once in a while?
Dagnabbit!
This joke's gonna follow me to my grave, isn't it?
Dagnabbit!
Boss battles are nothing new, except Boom Boom makes a return from Mario 3, after coming back in Super Mario 3D Land, but that's for another day. Boom Boom takes over the fortress levels from Reznor in New Super Mario Bros. 2, and the Koopalings once again occupy the castle levels. Fun fact, did you know that Mike Vaughn, the actor who provides the voice of Iggy Koopa and Ludwig van Koopa, also provides the voice of Ghostface in the new Scream TV series? That's freaky. I didn't know that. Depending on the level, these bosses can either be really easy like Lemmy's fight in Acorn Plains, a little tedious like Morton's fight in Layer Cake Desert, or in the case of Wendy's fight in Frosted Glacier, they can be a
Real pain in the belly!
A boss battle with ice physics? Now that's evil. In fact, Bowser Jr.'s boss fight before reaching Soda Jungle drives me nuts too. It's an underwater boss battle, the brat fires heat-seeking torpedo Teds at you, and you have to get them to hit Junior's clown sub. It can be really bothersome if the torpedo's just about to hit him, but the minute it touches him, Junior decides to fire another torpedo, causing it to hit the one you were trying to hit him with in the first place. Come to think of it, Bowser Jr.'s boss fights in general might just be my least favorite in the entire game. Heck, Bowser's fight is miles better than any of Junior's battles combined. Oh yeah, spoiler alert, Bowser's the final boss. Though it's not really much of a spoiler, considering he's the final boss in every single main series Mario game to this point. Minus Mario 2, but still. It starts out like a traditional Bowser battle, but once you send him falling to his death, yeah, You thought I forgot about that joke, didn't ya? Next thing you know, you're just outside Peach's castle and Bowser's like Godzilla-sized!
Look, it's Godzilla! Godzilla!
I know that lately I've been complaining about the overuse of the Bowser fake out in newer Mario games, but this is actually a really interesting change of pace. Giant Bowser's been done before, yeah, but considering his domain is a volcanic, hellish version of Peach's castle this time around, which is also an interesting change of pace, I think this boss battle works in its own special way, despite the fact that it's really easy. Man, has Bowser just stopped caring about whether or not he loses? I guess that can't be the case if he keeps trying to take over the Mushroom Kingdom all the time, but how else can I explain the decrease in difficulty with these fights?
Dagnabbit!
Stop that! You know, I'm beginning to regret writing this joke. Anyway, the game might be over, but there's still some things to talk about. Like the Secret Island, which just shows you a bunch of pointless stats. Woo. And the Superstar Road, which is pretty much this game's World 9. After you beat Bowser, you unlock the entrance to Superstar Road. If that doesn't immediately make you think of Super Mario World, please do everything you can to play that game. It's a masterpiece. Superstar Road has the most difficult levels in the whole game, and it's also the only world where you can find propeller mushrooms and penguin suits. I'm not sure why, but I managed to beat the game without them, so it's not completely irritating. Now, as a whole, I think I can get away with saying Superstar Road isn't as difficult as World 9 from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. If anything, it's a little more annoying than frustrating. Because this game is pretty much an HD remake of New Super Mario Bros. Wii, you still got the multiplayer. But like in my review of the Wii version, I recommend playing with 2 players. Also, there's a new mode called Boost Mode. While you have people playing the game with controllers, you can use the gamepad to create extra platforms for the characters to walk on. It's great for saving your friends from falling down a bottomless pit like a total moron, but whatever you do, don't play with 4 people. You will not be able to work well together, somebody's going to screw up, and there will be anger! But if you need to relax, you can go play around in the new challenge modes. There's a mode where the entire stage is an auto-scrolling level, and the more coins you collect, the faster the stage scrolls. My dislike for auto-scrolling levels aside, this mode isn't that bad. It's fast, frantic, energizing, and it puts you on the edge of your seat. You gotta be careful with collecting those coins, or else you're gonna throw yourself off and screw up. No. There's another mode where you take part in different challenges, and you're either rewarded with a gold, silver, or bronze medal, depending on your results. Some of the challenges can differ greatly. For example, some levels will have you kill a certain number of enemies without touching the ground, but if you do touch the ground, then the challenge is over and you'll need to do it again. Other times, you'll have to get a certain number of 1-ups before time runs out, and the way they expect you to get those 1-ups can mean having to give this game your full attention. But you know what makes these challenge modes especially great? You can play as your Mii! Now, why you can't play as your Mii in the main story is something I'll never understand, but let's wrap things up with the presentation side of things. New Super Mario Bros. U is graphically similar to its Wii counterpart, but in terms of backgrounds and overall smoothness, it's so much better. Some locations may look identical to past games, but generally, it's all completely different. In plenty of cases, the worlds can just look beautiful, especially Frosted Glacier. My favorite level, in terms of visuals, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree, is the level where the background looks like it was painted by Van Gogh. This is seriously the best looking level in a Mario game that I've seen in a very long time. As for the rest of the game, this is the best looking New Super Mario Bros. Game to date. The music, however, fails to impress. The soundtrack is generally made up of songs from New Super Mario Bros. Wii and 2, which are already pretty forgettable to begin with. There are more original songs than the 3DS title, and those are the main theme and the world map theme. The main theme is okay in terms of composition, but the use of Apple GarageBand instruments is a bit too obvious to me. The world map music gets a little annoying after a while. It seems to me that the New Super Mario Bros. Games always don't have much to offer in terms of music, minus 1 or 2 tracks, but I can't judge a game solely by its soundtrack, of course. Before I go, I should probably mention the downloadable content. For about $20, you can either physically or digitally play New Super Luigi U, a separate adventure where Mario is nowhere to be seen, but instead you play the entire game as Luigi. I should be a little more excited about this considering how much I love Luigi, but here's why I'm not. New Super Luigi U kind of, well, sucks. It's great that you can play as Luigi and all, and I guess it's kinda cool that you can play as the Nabbit, or as I like to call him, every noob's best friend.
Dagnabbit!
But aside from that, the game is practically the same thing. Scratch that. The map is the same. We have different levels with only 100 seconds to beat each one, and I guess they're supposed to be harder, but honestly, I think they come off as being less interesting. The levels are shorter, obstacles are recycled for other levels, and hearing the running out of time music at the start of each level gets grating after a while. I don't see or feel any heart or passion in these levels. I think because the developers were so focused on getting the player to beat each level as fast as they can, they designed these levels to be more like an endurance run rather than an actual Mario game. I consider it to be almost as bad as the Lost Levels, maybe even worse. At least Lost Levels made me feel something while playing it. Wasn't a good feeling, but I still felt something. These levels don't leave any sort of impact on me. They're just there. The only real good thing I have to say about it is Luigi himself. He controls exactly like Luigi should. He has the highest jump with his little flutter kick from Mario 2 to boot, and he can get past these repeating obstacles with ease. This is how he should have played in the last 2 games. So what the heck took them so long to program him like this? Better late than never, I suppose. If the levels were made a lot more interesting, and if the world map showed at least a few differences, I'd say New Super Luigi U is definitely worth the $20 I paid for it, and maybe even a retail purchase. But for what it is, I'd say you're better off just playing New Super Mario Bros. U alone. Speaking of which, I think now's the time to piece together my verdict on the entire game. So, how do I feel about New Super Mario Bros. U? Well, I can definitely say that I had more fun with this game than I did with New Super Mario Bros. 2, and even though I think the series doesn't deserve to use the word new in the titles anymore, I generally had a good time playing. The similarities to New Super Mario Bros. Wii are terribly glaring, the soundtrack isn't anything special, and the inventory is very lacking. But despite these flaws, I still managed to find something to enjoy. The game is beautiful, the challenges add a lot of replayability, and I especially love the world map. While I admit the gameplay can get pretty stale after a while, there might just be something about this game that's almost too engaging. Maybe it's the similarities to Super Mario World that are making me think this way, but I think the secret to New Super Mario Bros. U and its addictive gameplay is progression. Getting from world to world in this game feels like a journey, an epic quest, and no other Mario game has made me feel that way. With a few exceptions. The journey is filled with familiarities and reminders of the past, and in a way, it kind of reminds me of how Mario's evolved over the years. Maybe New Super Mario Bros. U is more than just a run-of-the-mill Mario game. It's a celebration of Mario's history, and it doesn't force you to remember anything. Before playing the game for this review, I used to think it was nothing but a generic Mario game with no real substance. But after playing it again, it reminded me a lot of why I love Mario games and why I keep playing them. Mario's always providing me with the highest quality experiences for each new console he debuts on, and no matter how good or bad, there's always that sense of colorful, simple, good old-fashioned fun to find. New Super Mario Bros. U is just that. It has flaws, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, it's the same great Mario experience that I've come to expect from the handy little plumber. I probably won't play it that much after doing this video, but I'll still have the experience to look back on. I had fun with New Super Mario Bros. U, and here's hoping Nintendo keeps making some truly great 2D experiences. But my advice, do something a little more original next time. Sorry if I made this video a little longer than you were expecting, but something just had to be said about Mario's 2D games. And if you're thinking I got a little too personal with this video, just wait until I get to the 3D games. Which won't be until the next video. That's right, we're jumping back a decade or two for Mario's first 3-dimensional adventure. I'll see you guys next time with Super Mario 64. Until then, this is Mark, aka Super Smash 3DS, bidding you all- Alright, that's it, get over here, you little-